Hey everyone, I welcome you all to this video. And in this video, we will be discussing about the concept of constraints. And if I'll talk about constraints, so constraints are basically certain conditions that are to be applied on certain columns of a table or on the columns of a table as per the way we will define that have to be followed. These conditions are to be followed when we will be inserting records into the table, right? So I'll write conditions that can be applied on columns of a table, and these conditions are to be followed while inserting records into the table. All right, so let's take some examples to understand this. And in this session, we will specifically discuss about the not null constraint. So we can write not null constraint. There are different types of constraints, but let's discuss about not null constraint in this video. Also, we will be using a new database in order to store the tables in that database, wherein we will be discussing about constraints. So I want to create a new database first of all. So here I will write in line number 2, create database, and then simply write the name of the database. So the name of the database is going to be constraints, shift up arrow key, control E, commands completed successfully. So this database was created. Now we will have to select this database, because here at the top you can see MasterDB is selected as of now. Here also you can see, and the right hand side bottom you can see MasterDB is selected. So we can write use, and then you can write the name of the database. So use constraints. If I'll execute the statement written in line 4, this will select the database constraints for us. So you can see constraints is written here, written at the top here as well, and written here at the bottom as well. Now let's create the new table and understand the concept of this. So Control R and case 1. So we further will be breaking this this entire part into 2 further parts. At the first segment, we will discuss about case 1. And the case 1, we will have to create a new table. And the case 2, the table already exists. Fine. So let's take an example to understand this. First of all, since we have to create a table in the first case, so we will write create table and then simply write the name of the table. So let's say we want to name this table as test not null, so test underscore not underscore null. You can give any name to the table, just giving this name. So we can write, let's say we are defining certain columns. So let's say the first column that we have is employee ID. So we can write it as EID. Let's say it is having data type integer, and it cannot have null values. So we can write not null. Right? So this is how not null constraint is defined on a column while creating the table. Comma, press enter. Let's say we want to have one more column in this table, that is the age column. Age column will be having data type tiny int, and it may consist of null values. So we are not writing anything here. We are simply writing age tiny int, comma, press enter. And let's say there is one more column, that is first name column, that we want to be there in this table. And let's say the data type is varchar 256 is the maximum character length, and bracket close, and this column can also consist of null values. So if I will execute this statement written from line 15 to 19, so commands completed successfully, and a new table was created with the not null constraint defined on EID column. So if we will run a simple select statement to see this table, so we can write select star from test not null. If I will execute this statement written in line 21, so this is the table that we have. As of now, it is not having any records because we have simply not inserted any record. Now, uh, let's say we want to insert a record into this table, but before even inserting a record into this table, let's say we want to check that a given column is nullable or not. It can consist of null values or not. So for that purpose, we can write a SQL code wherein we can write select star from information underscore schema dot columns where table name like, and inside the single quotes we can provide the table name. So this is the table name that we have, test not null, control C, control V. And if I'll execute this statement written in line 23 and 24, so you'll get to know that whether a given column is nullable or not. So you can see that the first record is for EID column, and EID column is not nullable because in this column, that is nullable column, there is no written here. So you cannot put null values into EID column. That can be checked from here. If I'll talk about age column, so is it nullable? Yes, it is. It can consist of null values as of now. If we'll talk about first name column, then as of now, it can consist of null values. That's why yes is written here in is nullable column. Now control R. Now let's try to insert a record into this table and let's see what happens. So we can write insert into and the table name. So the name of the table is test not null, then values, bracket open, bracket close. Let's say we want to insert the first value as in EID, we want to insert value 1. In age, we want to insert value 23. And let's say the first name is Mayank. If I will execute this statement written in line 26, insert statement, and execute it, so you can see the message displayed, one row affected. Matlab one row, it means that one row was inserted. If we will now run the simple select statement written in line 21, so you can see that this is the data that we have inserted. Now let's try to insert one more record. I will copy this insert statement and I'll paste it here in line 28. And let's say in EID column, let's try to insert null values and let's see what happens. If we will now execute the statement written in line 28, SQL Server throws an error stating that that we cannot insert null values into the column EID. And column does not allow nulls, insert fails. Because not null constraint has been defined on the EID column. That's why we were not able to insert null values. That's the point. But age column and first name column were nullable. They can consist of null values. So let's try to insert null values in them. So I will again write insert into test not null values. Let's say the EID is 2 and let's say we want to insert null value in the age column. So null, comma, and let's say the name of the student is Raj. Name of the employee is Raj, sorry. Bracket close. If I execute this statement written in line 30, so one row affected, we were able to insert a record because not null constraint is not defined on age column. That's why. If we will now run the simple select statement written in line 21, so you can see this is the data that we have and we have null value in age column. We were able to insert this into the age column. So that is the point. So in that way, this can work, right? And in this way, not null constraint can be defined on a column when we are creating a table. Now let's discuss about the next case. In the next case, the table already exists. So as of now, we know that test not null table now exists. In the case 1, we created this table. This does not exist when we were discussing about case 1. But in case 2, now this table exists. So what we can do, let's say the condition given to us is that now we are interested in making first name column nullable. Fine. We want to make first name column nullable because not null constraint was not defined on this column. So we can write a simple statement and we can say that alter table name. So the name of the table is test not null. Alter table name and alter column. The name of the column is first name. And let's say we do not want to change the data type. So the data type was varchar 256. We are fine with it. but we want this column to have not null constraint on it. So we will modify it, and we can modify it by using this statement written in line 36, 37. We can write not null. If I will now try to execute the statement written in line 36 and 37, so commands completed successfully. It means now in the first name column also, you will not be able to insert null values. So if we will try to check that, if let's say if I write insert into test not null, and let's say we want to insert the value in all the columns might be, so we can write values. Let's say for employee ID, we say the employee ID is, let's say 21. Let's say the age is 34. And in the first name column, let's try to insert null values. If I will execute this, SQL Server throws an error, insert fails, column doesn't allow nulls because we have modified the constraints on this column in the second case, right? And that's all about it. So we have modified the constraint for this column using the statement written in line 36, 37. Now, if I will talk about case 1 when we created the table, so you can see that for age column as well, this not null constraint was not defined. But now I want to define the not null constraint on age column as well, like we defined for the first name column. So we can simply write alter table name, that is test not null, and then we can write alter column, and the name of the column is age. Let's say we do not want to change its data type, so let's keep it tiny int, but we want to apply a not null constraint on it, so we will write not null. And let's see if SQL Server allows us to execute this statement or not. If I will execute the statement written in line 41, 42, SQL Server throws an error stating that column does not allow nulls and update fails. So we were not able to update the statement. We were not able to update the update the constraints applied on age column. So why that was so? It is because if I will run the simple select statement, that is select star from test not null, if I'll run this statement, so the age column already consists of null values, right? So when a column already consists of null values, you will not be able to modify the not null constraint or the null constraint on it. You will not be able to modify that because it already consists of null values. And after inserting a null value, now you are saying that you want to modify the constraint on age column and you want to make it non-nullable, but you already inserted a null value. That's why we were not able to run this update. That is, we were not able to modify the constraint on the age column, while we were able to do so for the first name column, because in first name column already null values were not inserted. So this was all about the not null constraint, and this was the first constraint that we have discussed, and I hope this video was helpful. We'll meet in the next session. We'll discuss about other 5 constraints in the upcoming session. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye.